Hi y'all, this is Becky Racler with Becky's Junk Journals. I'm on Instagram and on YouTube under Becky's Junk Journals. And today I'm going to show you how I fix plain white paper. You can use any kind of plain white paper, but I'm going to use the white on the back of my favorite scrapbook paper that I like to use. This all came from the book that I got at Joann's here in where I live. They have a Joann's fabric store. And these papers all came out of the Park Lane Flower Garden. They're calling it cardstock, but it's just a heavier weight paper. It's heavier than copy paper is, but it doesn't feel like cardstock to me. But anyway, it's a good weight for what I want to do, and I'm going to use these. Get that out of my way. I'm going to use all this pretty paper to make pages in my next journal, which is going to be pink and green flowery girly journal that I'm going to work on. And but the thing that I don't like when I cut them down is that they've all got these white backs, and that's no good because I just can't stand working on a white paper. So I'm going to show you how I fix that so I don't have any blank white pages in my journal once I sew it together. And I'm going to show you two really easy, simple methods. And I'm going to give you an example of the methods right here. Okay, this is the journal that I'm currently working on, Serendipity. And this is an example of the first page that was blank on this side, and then this one is another method that was white on the back of the decorative paper, and I decorated it up like that. I'm going to show you both of those methods. I'm going to give you some more examples. Here's another way that I decorated the blank white page. And here is another way, another example. The one on the left was a blank white page before I got to it. And here is another one. The one on the right was a blank white page, this little short one. So, the way I do my journals is I pick out all my papers and then I cut them down to size. And this is some of the papers I'm going to use. I'm going to use some colored copy paper. I bought colored copy paper at Office Depot for $5 for a whole ream of it. It's several hundred sheets in there, 8.5 by 11 copy paper. It comes in colors. You can get it at Office Depot for about $5 or $6 for a ream, and I use it interspersed in my pages. First thing I have is I've cut them all down to size, and this size that I have cut down to is 8 tall and 11 inches wide, because that fits the journals that I usually make. Most of my journals are about 9 by 6. I could use I don't want a full 12-inch wide because I want to leave some room to put pretty decorative trim on the ends. So the first thing I do is I cut down the paper to size. And now here I have my pretty papers. And then the next thing I do is I pick out all the things that I'm going to use. I've got stamps here that are handy. I've got some inks that are handy. And I've got some stencils that I can use. And I've got my tissue paper that I'm going to use in this project. Okay, first thing I do is I grab a sheet, and I'm working all in shades of pinks and pinks today because I know that I'm going to be making that pink journal. So I'm just going to grab, let's see, which one is my favorite one today? Maybe I should work on my least favorite, huh? Okay, let's do this one. This is a really bright one. And there's lots of other methods that you can do with this. And there's lots of different things you can do. You can use colored pencil to color the back. You can use splashes of watercolor to color the back. But my favorite is a combination of stamping and tissue paper and stencils. Okay, this first method is super easy. I'm taking my ink pad and I'm lightly, because this one is really a full paper, and I'm getting the edges too. And I'm doing it in a circular motion. Okay, now I can use it once it's dry. I can use it like that, and then I can start working on my next journal page with this as my go-to in my book. But can't leave it at that. It's a little bit too much the way it is right there, done in a circular motion. What I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to take a light colored tissue paper, and then I'm going to glue it over the top of it like that, so it tones down that texture look of the underneath, but it still gives me, it softens it, but I can still see that textured look up underneath. Now, another thing that I could do, if I wanted to, was cover it at this point, cover it with napkins. And y'all know that napkins, you may not know, but most napkins come in 3 layers. In order to get the layers off, because you just want that one layer, you tear down with a piece of tape stuck to your finger to get to it, and then you just tear off the first layer, and then you turn your little tape around, get it started so you can tear off your second layer, and it leaves you with the final one. So if I wanted to do that, which I kind of like that, I think that I might have liked it better with the green in the background, so the pink would stand out on top of that one. Another thing I can do at this point is take some darker colored ink pads, and this happens to be Stays On, the smelly yucky kind. And give myself some pretty butterflies, turning them every which way, letting them go off the paper. And I think that does it. Now we got it all stamped up. And we can use it like this, let it dry, and use it like that if we wanted to. Or we could get even fancier with it. So what I'm going to do is, this is a little bold for most people and for my purposes. So what I'm going to do is I am going to glue some paper. My scissors don't want to cut this very well. I'm going to cut it in half so it's easier to work with. So we've got that color, and then I've got a bolder color, pink. And that way you don't really see the other texture. So I'm going to use this color. And once all that ink is dry, you can take, I don't like to use wet glue on paper like this. It takes too long to dry. So what I like to use, if you're going to use a wet glue like Mod Podge, you can use Mod Podge if you want to, but you need to use a brush or a sponge brush and brush the Mod Podge evenly on the whole page and then glue the tissue paper on. But what I'm going to use is Elmer's Extreme Glue. Oh, hold on a second. I got to go find out what my dog is doing. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. She was barking at nothing. Just barking at thin air. She doesn't normally do that. She's usually a sweet dog. Okay, I'm going to use this, and I'm just going to glue it on. It's Elmer's Extreme Glue Stick, and it's got a wider top. You want to get real good coverage. Doing this does take a lot of the glue stick. So you get most of it on there like that. Then you just take this tissue paper and you lay it down. And I don't worry about wrinkles. Some people are, but you're gonna I think the texture looks better. Now some people think that you have to come back on top of this with maybe a matte medium or something on top of this to seal it, but I do not think you need to. I think it looks fine just like it is. And once you get it trimmed down, this is what your page is going to look like. I haven't trimmed it down yet, but it's going to look a lot better. But see, you can see the texture of the ink underneath it, and you can see the butterflies. if I wanted to make it where I didn't want to see the texture of the ink, I would have used a darker sheet. And if I did this and decided I didn't like it, I could glue another layer of tissue paper down on top of that to soften up the page. But it would have to be a darker color. Or I could, if I decided I didn't like this particular sheet, I could come in on top and glue that over there. And that's what happened when I made this page right here. This one, I did some stamping, and then I glued my plain pink tissue paper over top of it. And then I did a little bit of inking on top of the tissue paper. And then when I got the pages all sewed in the book, I realized that I had sewn in the words upside down in my signature. So all the words were upside down. You can see them all through the tissue paper. So to fix it, what I did was I came back with more words that were right side up, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. It just did not look good at all. So I took this napkin and put this napkin over the whole shebang, and I like it a lot now. What do you think? While I have this page here, this page on the left, it is just inked. Nothing else but ink, really lightly. And the way I inked this one is, where did I put it? Oh no, it's lost forever. There it is. I used my ink stamper rubber honor thing with a real ratty, and I just rubbed it in a circular motion really lightly over the whole top of the page. And that gave a much more blended and more, I don't know, softer blended look to it, as opposed to using the bright ink right on top of it. And this ink that I'm using for my pink is called Pickled Raspberry. But if you look, it is not the color that is on the top. It is definitely raspberry, and not this peachy pink color that is on the top of this box. So if you want this bright hot pink color, magenta color for your scrapbook, or for your junk journals or scrapbooks or whatever you're doing, it's picked raspberry, not pickled raspberry, picked raspberry. I don't know why they call it picked. What else are you going to do with them, huh? Ooh, I think I'm hungry. Sounds good. Yum, yum. Okay, so softer with the brush on or rub on, and harder if you want the bolder look to it. Okay, so once I trim this down, this page will be ready for me to use, and all I have to do is fold it in half, and it'll be ready to pop into my signature. Okay, let's do another one just for fun. This one, I'm going to do something different. This one, how's that for pretty pink? And that's kind of soft, and you can write on it. That'll be nice, and that'll be nice for one side of it. But the other pages have to be done. So what in the world are we going to do with that? Well, this is what I'm going to start with. I'm going to start with my pickled raspberry, and I'm going to go around the edges, and I'm going to lean back, and I'm using my round rub-on thing, and I'm leaning back to towards the corner so I catch the corners. So you won't see that white of the side of the pages when you put the book together. That's the main reason for getting all the corners. And then I'm going to take it, not completely inked, and I'm going to smear around as much as I can. Got to put a little bit more on there, Becky. All right. So a little bit more circular motion. Okay, we got it all inked up. You're not going to see the white on the edge of the paper. Now I'm going to do something a little bit different for this one. I'm going to take the cutoffs from cutting those pages down, and I'm going to give myself some roughly triangular shapes. Not exact triangulars. I'm not striving for perfection on this one. That's enough of that one. That one? Nah, let's try it. I don't know if I like that, but we'll see what's going to happen. And we'll do some more brightly colored one. Now, if you wanted to be more precise with this, you could make your cutoffs more, you could use a punch or something and make them all perfectly triangular or perfectly round or whatever you wanted to do. But for my purposes, it's not going to really show because I'm going to put tissue paper on top of it. Now what you going to do? Well, there's two ways you can do this. You can take each individual one and stick it down. Or you can rub some glue and do a section at a time. Oh no, I'm losing them. You're not going anywhere. You're going to be stuck down. I didn't let it escape. If you had little pieces of lace, you could do little pieces of lace in this. You just turn your little triangles every which way. Don't keep them all going the same direction. She said, "Do as I say, not as I do." Far over did I go? Oh, don't do that. Sometimes they don't want to cooperate, and I just have to make them do what I say. Behave. Okay. And send it across the room flying. You can make this as thick or as thin as you want. And you can use any shape that you want. You can do anything you want if you just want to hard enough. That's what my mother used to say. You just have to want to hard enough to be able to make the sacrifice and figure out how to do it. Anything. Okay, you guys don't want to watch me glue all day, I'm sure. Well, maybe you do, I don't know. Maybe you do like it. You got a glue thing. Got a thing for watching people glue stuff down. Yay! Now it's all sticky. I'm not gonna do this whole thing while you're there, but I'm going to put glue right over top of what I did here. And I'm going to show you how it looks when I finish it up. I like this method. And you can use bits and pieces of lace, anything that's thin, because you don't want it to be hard. You don't want to use cardstock. You want to use a thinner paper to go on top of this one. And let's do, we better do it this way. And start in the middle, and you spread out and go in all different directions. That's how you get the wrinkles out. You start in the middle, palm it out, all different directions. It's laid down, and the back of it's glued to the, oh, goodness. I'm going to cut the excess off so it's easier to show you how it looks. Okay. Of course, I'll trim the edges all around, but I like that look. And I think that would be a fun background for making a page on the, see, and this is what it looked like if I just did it with the ink on the background. And this is what it looks like with the little pieces of paper collaged in there. So I could do each side differently because they're going to be on two different parts of the book. I could ink stamp, say butterflies or whatever I wanted to do on that one, and then finish gluing it down. Let's just do that. But let's use the ink color. And we have to use a different butterfly. And this is going to be real subtle. Now you could leave it like that and use it like that on your page, or you could come in once your ink is dry, or your ink. This ink is this Distress Oxide ink is not permanent, so you have to like if it gets wet, it'll activate and it'll start running. And so if I put this wet glue, or it's not really wet, but it's wet enough, if I put it on top of the ink, it's going to smear the ink around and it's going to lift it all up. And looks like I've almost used up another one of these glue sticks. These are the best glue sticks. I've tried every glue stick there is, and I order these on Amazon. Orange Extreme. The only thing I found that really works for my purposes. Start in the middle, spread it out. And if you tear your paper when you're doing this, which I sometimes do, I got some excess glue out here, but if you tear your paper, your tissue paper, while you're working on this, what you can do is come back with another small piece of tissue paper and just glue it right where the tear is. Just glue it right on top. Or you can leave it. So, what do you think? I hope this gives you some good ideas. This is what I'm going to continue doing for a while. And I'm going to come up with different things that I can collage on to make backgrounds, you know, and get rid of all that white. You see, there's the pink on that side. And there's what it opens up to. So it's a different texture, different look than that page that it opens up from. But it has a little softer or a different kind of look to it. I hope this has helped you, give you some ideas, and this is just one of lots of ways that you can cover up the backs. If you get out all your art supplies and whatever you have, you can probably find a lot of things. You can use really dry pouncing of acrylic paint. I mean, like, put it on a brush and then dab the brush on paper towel to get it almost dry and then brush over it. I can come on top of this tissue paper with more ink if I want to. I can just swirl more ink to give yet another layer of texture on there. I'm going in a circular motion, and I'm just going all over with that pink ink. And see, it makes it bolder, and it picks up the slightly raised texture of that, and it makes those pieces stand out more. So I like this, but I like a bolder look. This would be more appropriate for a lot of people. And these dry really fast. I mean, just in a matter of a minute or two, it's completely dry and ready to go in your book. And once I have them like this, I go ahead and fold them into signature pages and store them until later. And I store them by color scheme, so I can just grab pages in different color schemes that I need for the book I'm making and put them right in there. So I hope this gives you some good ideas and gives you a point to go from on this. And if you liked it, please hit the thumbs up button. And if you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe, and the notifications bell will tell you when I post new videos. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Bye-bye.